May I ask how old you are, sir?
I am 52 years old, sir.
And you, sir?
I'm 33.
And you don't deny, young man, that here's your brother trying to take care of you and help you in your time of need, gives you money for a lawyer, gives you money for insurance, gives you a home for a while, place to stay. What do you think his motivation for all of that? His motivation for all of that?
His motivation? Take it easier on him on rent, because I was helping him out with rent. If you knew him like I knew him, he won't do nothing without something in return.
You think he was going to charge you exorbitant interest on the loan?
Yeah. I've known him. You guys just met him. I've known him my whole life. He would not lift a finger if he did not have some intention behind it.
You, young man, need to look in the mirror. You know, probably one of the greatest blessings in life is to have an older brother. But nevertheless, when you say he knew where you were,
he knew the whole time where I was.
You were living on the street. You didn't have an address,
I didn't.
did you?
But he knew where I was at, Your Honor.
That's not the point.
Yeah,
Whether he knew where you were physically is not the point. It's a question of whether or not they could have served you with papers. You were on the street. You didn't have an address.
They was their same address. They could have sent it right to them, got the copy, and gave it right to me. There's so many ways.
You abandoned that address. You preferred to live on the street according to your papers because you didn't want to hear from your brother, go out and get a job every day.
If I go with 1 minute without paying the rent, Your Honor, I left with 2 weeks left because they're both constant bickering. I couldn't deal with their issues. I just said, gone.
And it's just a comment.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with how the outcome of the case is, but it's got to do with your life. Brothers and family are the most important things to happiness and well-being in this life. Judge Acker?
You know, Mr. Vaca, Defendant Vaca, you said that your brother would never do anything for you unless he expected something in return. And when I heard that, I'm like, it was a loan. He knew he was going to have to pay the money back. And because if you didn't see him as such a greedy miser, you would say, yeah, it was a gift. He was always doing stuff. You said, nope, he would never do anything for me unless he was going to get something back. Hold that. Just hold that thought. The two of you got a lot of problems with this case. Judge Domingo pointed out what I think is the biggest problem. I think you just waited too long. I think if there were a reasonable, legitimate expectation of repayment, you would have tried to enforce it before now. And where was he going to get the money from? You can't get blood from a stone. Where is the reasonable expectation of repayment?
I took him for his word. I believe that he really wanted to stay on his feet, keep his job, keep his son in his life, and pay me back. And I even told him, as soon as you start working at me, I don't care if it's 20, 30, whatever, stop paying me back. And if you don't want to pay me back, pay Lori what you owe her, and the rest you can give it to your son. And he has done nothing.
So I have to draw a distinction between what I see as a legal obligation and a moral obligation. You know, in terms of morality, there's no statute of limitations on doing the right thing by somebody. There is a statute of limitations on a legal obligation. And if you are going to court to enforce a loan, you have to do it within a certain period of time. You have to show that the two of you had a meeting of the minds about the terms of the agreement. And I definitely don't see that. Somebody saying, I'll pay you back at some point when I get on my feet, maybe, that does not create, to my mind, an enforceable legal obligation. That, frankly, it supports your brother's position, that this was a big brother and his generous girlfriend looking out for the defendant. So you've got the burden. I think you wanted to say something, ma'am?
I did. I have told him since day one, I need my money. And he said, I'm not in the capability to pay you back. That's all he's ever said. And I didn't even know where he lived. I knew that he was homeless for an amount of time because I did see him out in the street. But I was told by the court that I could not serve him if he was homeless because he had no actual address. I cannot serve him myself.
You went to court?
Correct.
And you had papers?
No, I tried to file papers, and at that time they told me I could not because
Who told you that?
The clerk.
Thank you. Thank you.
When did you actually file this case?
I filed it in, it was probably February of 2021.
And the two loans we're talking about, the first one was October 2015 and the second one was January 2016.
Correct.